Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage podcast, episode 193. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my beer-cracking co-host, Ryan Sinitsky. Hello.
It tastes like grapefruit. That's actually really good. Do I
It
like
is-
grapefruit? I might like grapefruit now.
You might, I don't know, it's a great beer, but it is definitely a 90-degree outdoor beer.
I think
like
well, that's the thing is I usually don't like grapefruit. I was kind of expecting not to like this.
it doesn't bite, but it has the flavor of grapefruit. So it doesn't have any of the citrus, but it has the flavor. So I'm
I'm
not
gonna
really sure
start
how
buying
they did that.
grapefruits. Actually, I'm gonna buy them for putting in
Grapefruit's
smoothies.
awesome. I used to eat them with a spoon growing
No,
up.
I just want them. I'm not a fan of them. Like I've not been a fan of them for the longest time. But maybe because in my advanced stage, I'm a fan of them now.
Your advanced age. Yes, well, better dig out the monocle.
Yeah, no, right.
So you were drinking a Fulton Grapefruit Lonely Blonde.
Yes.
I am drinking a Minnesota Gold Lager, which I opened last week.
God, that's so good.
And by last week,
I'm like really. I'm very surprised that this is as good as it is.
Impulse bought it. It was one of the 70-degree days we had like 2 weekends ago. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, I need a summer beer still to like before I switch to porters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know all those porters are skunked because they're
Probably they've been in there for a year.
and they're also summits, so it's like Summit always is skunked. Summit.
Scum it.
Yeah, scum it.
Patreon.com/Carbitrage. Patreon is a support mechanism for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. We have one. It's actually patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this particular custom designed webpage, you will find 2 levels of open-ended support that lets you pay us essentially just for beer. Someday maybe we'll get to kind of subsidizing some costs for actually putting this out for you guys too. So if you want to head over and give us a couple bucks, we would greatly appreciate it, but certainly don't feel obligated. Anyway, now that we're done with that, you've got the first topic for today. Why don't you
Yes, I
start
want
us
to talk
off?
about Toyota's new crossover.
We just did a whole episode on Toyota.
Well, here we
last
go again.
week.
And now I'm talking about crossover, which is very uncarbitrage. So, Toyota is making the Venza.
Why? No. It wasn't. It didn't sell well to begin with.
Well, this is the thing. All right, so Toyota Venza owners literally only buy other Venzas.
You're not wrong.
Like, when I was selling cars and a Venza hit the lot, it would be on there for 2 days, and somebody that drove in a Venza would buy the other Venza.
So you're telling me that the household that owns a Venza has 2 Venzas?
Yes.
Is there a plural for Venza?
Venzas.
Venzas is.
Yes.
So if
Venzas.
you have 2 Venzas right now and you want to get a new vehicle, good
Yes.
news.
But what's actually borderline almost cool, I guess. I guess like if you're really kind of stretching for the word cool, this is designed to compete against like the Apache. and stuff
No,
like
this
that.
is the Apache.
the Apache.
The
Sorry.
Apache.
This is designed to work with the Jaguar Apache.
I mean, the back end on this profile
It
looks
looks like
just like a Apache.
It looks like a Apache.
This, though, looks like an RX 350.
Shockingly. But what I think is actually really interesting about this is kind of weird that Toyota is like reaching this far up market. Because like that interior is nice.
Yeah, it looks like a Lexus interior.
Yeah, it looks like this is a stillborn Lexus. That's exactly what this looks like. this,
Wow, that's aggressive.
that's all this is a stillborn Lexus. Wait, go back. Wait a minute. That's a Predator face.
Yeah, that's-
This is literally just a Lexus.
This is a captive market. What's the Highlander called again?
Oh, the Clugger.
Clugger.
This is totally a Lexus everywhere else in the world. It's a Venza here. Because like they're probably trying to make Lexus more sporty.
And
they're
before
like,
the top trim isn't XSE, it's Clugger.
yeah, the Clugger.
I've got a Venza Clugger,
Yeah, this is
but yeah, it's got an NX rear end.
I really like that rear end actually. Or at least that rear taillight looks great. But it's a hybrid thing.
I bet the seats are great, 'cause
Yeah,
it's a
it
stillborn
looks
Lexus.
unbelievably comfortable.
I rode in an NX 200T the other day, and it had the most comfortable seats of any vehicle I've ever been in.
Do you want to talk about a car that depresses me more than anything else?
Yes,
The
I
NX
absolutely want
200T.
to. It's a terrible vehicle, but you can tune them.
You can tune them, and it's got independent rear suspension.
It's, again, the seats. I cannot express how supple.
I know
'Cause
they're
it's
amazing.
Like semi-aniline, single origin leather, and it's got coconut husk stuffing.
I know. I'm really irritated by how great they are because they have just the worst not manual transmission.
Oh yeah, that's pretty bad.
So, well, with the Venza's kind of like the same thing, where it's like now that the Venza before was just like a weird, quirky way to get into having the 3.5 V6. and like it was a little bit lighter than the Sienna, so it's actually sportier than the Sienna.
Oh wow, those were new enough to have
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's a really weird car where it's like it totally looks like a totally normal, 100% absolutely normal as hell car, but it's lighter than a Sienna. It's got a stiffer chassis than a Clugger.
Nice, it's stiffer.
Yes, it's got stiffer chassis than the Clugger, so it's actually a like more sporty crossover if that could ever exist.
Well, I mean,
and now
like you said, they're targeting Jaguar, so
yeah, so now they're making like this, which is like totally just like gonna eat Jaguar's lunch, and then of course being Toyota and just apparently just this is a Japanese thing where instead of eating their lunch with the luxury brand that they could easily do it with, they're just giving them more of an L by doing this with a normal car brand.
right.
Like Mazda could easily
Oh come on!
Mazda could easily have just made a luxury brand and made like the Mazda 3 like eat BMW's lunch with that. But
I don't even know if it's
Toyota's-
gonna eat out of brand lunch. I think it's like you said, it's gonna eat Lexus's lunch.
I don't think it's going to eat at Lexus lunch because this thing is they're moving Lexus into more of a sporty sort of thing. Like Lexus is more of like a BMW Audi competitor than a Mercedes competitor, whereas this is more aimed at the Mercedes Jaguar market.
Yeah, there's probably other competitors in that market too, but I'm spacing on who that would be.
I guess with Lincoln, if you're like poor.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah,
Yeah.
who cross shops a Jag with something else?
Yeah, if you're buying a Jag, you're buying a. So this is the thing is, if people are buying a Jag, would otherwise be buying a Bentley, but they're a little too poor for that.
Oh, so they're like the Blaine.
Yeah, they're Blaine.
They're
rich.
Blaine Bentleys.
Yeah, they're the
okay.
Blaine Bentleys. Where it's like they get the used one. Like it's not quite the good one.
Yeah, but I bought an Arnage T with a bunch of warning lights.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like that. So like this is kind of like it's the people that. But that's the thing is like it's a Toyota, so you don't have the bougie name to it. I think what this would actually do is it's gonna. Because they've already been making Toyota like appeal more to sporty people. I think that they're trying to get back more of the Cressida market share, which they lost when they moved.
So you're
all
talking
their
older
nice-
folks then?
Yeah, I think like the older like managers, where like people had previously bought a Cressida. Well, they didn't want the Lexus because the Lexus was too upmarket. But then when they made Lexus, they kind of brought everything else in the Toyota lineup a little bit down market.
Well, they tried to and failed.
Yeah.
Because all the Lexus DNA came through.
I know but it's the thing is I think that, like what they're trying to do is make a statement to say that, oh, by the way, in addition to also being sporty, we do know how to make a luxury car under our own name.
Right.
Like I think that's what they're trying to do.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
And
So
I think,
you think that they want a Halo Toyota branded product?
yeah, I
again.
think that's what they're trying to do here. And like, although I'm not the person that would ever buy the new Venza, I have no shade for the Venza because every generation of Venza has had a very specific niche, and it's done very well exploiting that.
Sure.
And
Well, they've had plenty of time to research those niches.
yeah, and also, like as far as crossovers go, the original Venza is probably my favorite crossover.
And that's coming from a man who hates crossovers just
I
like me.
really, really, really hate crossovers. But if gun to my head, I had to name my favorite crossover.
I'm just having a hard time processing this because it's like the Pacifica thing. Like the name is attached to just trash.
Yeah.
And then like they come up with another product that's good, but like
like, I don't want it. And that's the thing is like the first generation Venza, like if somebody put a gun to my head and said, name your favorite crossover. I'm like, fuck, really? Do I have to? And they're like,
Yes.
name one that you like. You don't have to buy it or anything, but just like, what's your favorite one? And I'm like, Venza.
can we just get a dartboard of like
Like that'd be my favorite. If gun to my head, that'd be my favorite crossover. Like it's
Oh
the
my
closest
God.
thing to a good crossover.
oh my god. Awesome.
So like, and I think that this is a good way of continuing that name, where it's like now it's like, what's your favorite luxury crossover?
Venza!
All right, fine.
And then you go take a shower.
Yeah, it's like, why did you say that? Oh, it's more reliable than Jaguar. It's really nice, but
Just retching.
it doesn't
dry
make
heaving and
it doesn't
retching.
make me puke in my mouth like seeing a Porsche crossover.
Yeah.
It's more reliable than the European stuff. It's not as expensive, Like, yeah, I guess it's the best one.
It's gonna last forever, and like it looks reasonable, and you're getting like a Halo product for Toyota, but it's kind of Lexus-y, but you're not paying Lexus money. The base cost is $32,400. Like that's so cheap in a modern vehicle.
Yeah,
now.
like this is a good car that you recommend to like your older mother. Like if you know you're gonna inherit something and she really doesn't want a manual and she wants a truck, but she doesn't want a rough ride,
Yep.
this is it. Like you're not gonna inherit a bunch of problems.
True.
You're gonna get something that's gonna be really nice. It's gonna hold its value, and it doesn't look like a foot either, which is huge. That's a really important thing.
Yeah, it does look a lot better than the
It
first
looks-
gen Venza. I mean, you're not comparing it to much, but
No, I mean this is a properly good-looking vehicle. I think that also the Venzas are based off the Camrys. High likelihood that Camry suspension will fit in this, and that will fix 60%
they
of the
make a
issues.
performance Camry. So you telling me we can make a GR Venza?
Potentially. And I'm not gonna lie, you lower that 2 inches, you suddenly have a cool looking shooting brake.
Especially if you order it in like a cool color, like a
Yeah.
red or a brown or something like that.
The more I look at this, the more I don't hate it. That's the thing. Like I don't trust it. I don't like it.
you don't hate it for a crossover.
Yeah, like I don't. It's not that I'm not like horny for the Venza or anything. But
Well,
like
I mean, it kind of sounds like you are. So,
but like the thing is like I'm not like I don't have the physical reaction that I get from other crossovers
right.
with this vehicle. Like this one's like, yeah, I get it. Like it's one of those cars where I'm like, I could understand somebody buying this. Like this is pretty cool as far as crossovers go. Like I don't know, it's not my thing. But
I'm trying to think right now, like if I had to purchase a crossover, which I don't even want this recording out in public with me saying this, but like,
yeah, like if you had to, like if
I
you,
mean, I would pick. Let's be honest, I'd pick an E46, but if I had to pick a gasoline-powered
if you had to buy it-
crossover,
I think this would be it. Because also it's the cheapest one.
it's the cheapest, probably the nicest, by far the most reliable.
Like luxury crossover. So if I think this would be the best luxury crossover. That's what this would be.
I guess.
I don't want to have a favorite, but if, let's say, gun to my head, somebody's threatening my life and I have to name something, yeah, this one, like, I could say that with honesty that this is probably the best one that you can get. I know,
I'm
right?
just like you. I'm just like I couldn't be bothered at this point. Like I know it's a good crossover. 4 crossovers.
I will say the front wheel drive early Outlanders.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
sorry, the front wheel drive Outlander Sport.
those were GS cars still, weren't they?
not the second generation. The second generation, not the first gen.
okay.
The second generation front wheel drive Outlander. You could get with a manual front wheel drive.
That's pretty cool. Dude, the amount of stuff you could buy crossover-wise in like the 90s and 2000s, even the 2010s with a
Yeah,
manual.
well, that's because it was
CX-5, CX-3, Outlander, View,
So fun fact with the Outlander,
Escape.
because Mitsubishi didn't have any money, you can actually take an Evo 10 and take the Evo 10 drivetrain and stick it under an Outlander, and you can have an Evo 10 wagon.
Well, that would be like doing an Eagle Summit 1G.
Exactly. It's like that.
And it's like, okay, that's cool, man. That's cool. That's cool. It's no problem. But I get why you say that. And like, I'm not faulting you for coming to the defense of the Venza, the
Yeah.
2.0 rather.
I will
But-
defend all of the Venzas in their niche. I will never say they're a good car, but in their niche, I will defend a Venza to the death.
You talking even a first gen?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. So you prefer it to the Cross Tour?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, all right.
I-
I mean,
it's-
those were the only 2 products ever in that niche, so I get it.
Yeah, I
All right.
would defend that car to the death. Where that car's done nothing wrong. It's not good, but it hasn't done anything wrong. It's like the Pronard, where I'm just like,
Pronard.
I'm not gonna.
What a great name. We just have to say.
I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna like. Say. I'm not gonna say the
Pronard.
Avalon's bad, but I'm only gonna call it by its Japanese name, and I'm gonna say it's a fine car. It's just nothing I'd personally want.
Sorry. I want to talk about this thing right now too, but I had to do something real quick here. So you are well aware that Scott has had 2 EX Honda Element all-wheel drive 5-speed side airbag vehicles, right?
Yes.
As it turns out, these are the same kind of people that Venza people are.
Yeah.
If you have one, you're going to have more, and you're going to buy more to replace the other ones if you break them.
Oh my God.
So, this
Just
is
looked at
a
what this sold for.
2000... I sound like DeMiro just then. This is a 2006 Honda Element EXP 4-wheel drive 5-speed, and it sold for $30,000 on Bring a Trailer. So let me just read that over to you again. This is a Honda Element from 2006 that sold for more now than it did new.
Without fog lights.
Without fog lights. It's an EXP, but fog lights were extraordinarily
Can you
rare
just
on
scroll
these
down? I
things.
want to see what the bidding was like
So
on this.
53,000 miles. It's an EXP side airbag, so it's a painted side, first facelift. It's in a good color. It's a lime green. It's in perfect condition. 53,000 miles. Like, if you are an Element person and you want a new Element, this is as close as you get. So it's a 2-owner vehicle.
That's amazing.
Had 46 bids on it.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
You scroll down to where the bidding was.
No buyer's remorse, says the buyer. Wow, it's going to take us a while to get to the bids. Oh, my Lord. So much comment activity. I had to scroll completely through an entire set of comments on Bring a Trailer. Maybe
We might have to do
two.
two.
Maybe two. Holy God.
We're not even there.
People's
Yeah.
oh, there it is.
There we go. So
almost at the end of the second full list of comments.
but look at how everybody was chatting on this.
If
Everyone
this
and their
doesn't hit
mom
30
was in
grand, I'm writing to management. I should have commented on this. And it looks
here.
like
Now
people
it's personal. So I'm looking at the bidders here, and it was two people that are very hungry for it.
Maserati Matt, Shelby 123. Yep.
There's
Yes.
two people that are
Two
very hungry.
Very hungry people.
So the question is, would you rather have this or an LX 470?
Oh, this, because it's a manual.
Yeah, because I had an LX 470 that closed for $29,750.
How nice. It must have been beautiful.
That's from like 2001.
Okay. All right.
It was okay. But
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I forget how long. I guess the two
if
UZ's been around
if
since
you
the early
if
90s.
you just look up LX 470, hey, that's also my listing right there.
R129
Yeah,
with
I'm like the R129 dude. So check this out. Click on the R129. I have no idea.
only
Like,
$8
this is
grand
really
right
weird. Now
now.
scroll down for a second. Go to the
it's
bottom
got
of the
like
essentials.
S55 wheels
Yeah,
on
go
it.
down. All right, yes, they are S55. Go R129 SL. Model page.
Okay. Oh, tan top, gross.
Now, yeah, I know, right? And scroll down.
Silver Arrow, nice. Wow, 55 grand.
So, all right, now the previous ones. This is how my life has been. Now just go into the recent. All right, stop. My listing, my listing, my listing, my listing, my listing, my listing, my listing. Like every
So
other
they give
one.
you all the R129s.
I don't give them all.
What
to
was
me.
this $130,000?
270
Oh,
mile,
Silver Arrow
yeah.
SL602. Okay.
So
I'm clicking on that for sure.
these are some of my favorite cars to
Wait,
write.
no. This is, I gotta go back to the.
These are some of my favorite cars to write because they are so easy to write, and I can crank them out in like 2 minutes flat.
They're known quantity
awesome.
cars. You don't have to know all that much about them to be an expert, which is nice.
Yeah, I really like them a lot, and also it's not a boring. I like the R129. Like I actually like that car, so when I'm writing, I'm not bored.
Yeah.
So it's not like writing like like a modern M6 or something,
Oh.
where I'm just like,
I'm gonna need some beer for this one.
yeah, I need to brew a cup of coffee. At the R129, I'm like, this is something I'm interested in.
Well, it's because
potentially
it's a
bidding.
great car. Yeah.
Like I'm looking at them, like I look at the years and stuff. I'm like, I want a pre-facelift. I want a pre-facelift that's like maybe missing the hard top, so it goes for a little bit less.
Oh,
but
so you want a cheap? Okay.
I want one that's like I want a pre-facelift.
You do not
missing,
want a pre-facelift
no, one
unless
second,
it's a manual.
I want a pre-facelift missing the hard top, but with the engine harness done. Like once I find one of those, I'll actually bid on it.
No, because it's not just the harness why you don't want a pre-facelift car.
What else is wrong with
The
it?
4-speed auto.
Are they really that bad?
Oh, they're not that unreliable, but
Well,
they're
that's the thing, I
so
want them to be reliable.
no, because you're not going to go drive the car for fun. The 5-speed auto, you go drive the car for fun.
Well, that's the thing. Is the R129, I drive that car for like pleasure, not for excitement.
You do not want a 4-speed auto car.
I feel like you
buy a 5-speed if you buy a pre-facelift, or you buy an auto facelift. You do not buy a pre-facelift R129. That's why they're half the money. There's a good reason why they're half the money, Ryan. Yeah, you can be as mad as you want.
I hate the front end on the new ones. I hate it. I hate
It's so much better though.
It is disgusting.
Oh no, it's so much better.
No, it is
The 96 plus xenon headlight front end.
You'd have if you had your way, you'd have a garage that'd make me
Bellissimo.
puke every day.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
walk and be a 512 TR and a post facelift R129, and I just go walk in the back and hang myself.
Weird,
This
because
is
there's already a
awful.
post facelift R129. It's so much better. It must,
I don't like it.
must be hard
I
being
don't
in the
like it at all.
minority.
I am a minority. This is
So anyway,
terrible.
this kiwi green element that sold for 30 G's.
I love that.
It's so great.
Well,
It's so great. But proof that people buy manuals on purpose and that manual elements are a niche that has still not been recreated.
Yeah, that is a like a top tip is like if you're looking for a car to buy for good money, the manual element. Actually, I had another car that sold for bananas on Branch Road. If you want to go back to Branch Road real quick.
No, just tell me what it was.
Oh, it was a Nissan hardbody pickup.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like a really nice V6
Those
auto.
are hard to find.
It was a really, really clean SE V6 auto.
Nice.
With the side-facing rear seats. And it sold like well into Tacoma money, like way past most Toyota pickups. I can't remember exactly, but
Well, I mean, people grew up with
it's
hard
like,
bodies in
it
high
was
school.
upper 20s, like is what it sold for. It's just like bananas.
When was the last time you personally saw a clean hard body, like a stock one, driving around?
I'll say the last time I saw a clean mini truck was Kurt's second generation Toyota pickup. Like he had like an 82 or 83 Toyota pickup that he brought to United Noodles in 2019.
What was that? I sent you a photo. I know I did at the time. I was at like a mini closer or opener meet, but it was like an older Nissan, I think, mini truck, the silver one. Maybe it was a Toyota or a Nissan. I don't remember, but it was maybe even 70s. I don't know, but it was a really clean mini truck. And the guy was
I remember
asking.
the last thing that you asked me.
He was asking like $4.5 for it. I'm like, dude,
Bye.
I should have because it was so cool. But like, I don't
If
care
you
about
if
pickups.
you find any mini truck of any sort for a penny less than $10,000 with a clean body on it,
No, dude,
buy it.
this was like a third of that.
I think that should be like that'd be my buyer's tip. Like for anybody looking for like an investment,
Yeah,
like,
they'll
as much
pay
as
you for it.
investment cars are like something that you really have to do your homework on any car, and it literally comes down to options for you to be able to make money or not. But if you want to get an investment car that's something you can make money on, if you can find any mini truck for under $10,000 that's clean, buy it. No questions asked. Like if it's got clean title, if there's no rust on it, and it runs and drives correctly, like and there's not any like weird horrible engine noises, buy that. No question.
And even if there is a horrible engine noise and it's a repoo, it's fine.
I say if there's a horrible engine noise, still consider it for under 5. But like for anything under 10, like
I'm just saying that the rotaries all make terrible noises.
yeah,
So
I like the noise of rotaries.
Terrible
Anyway,
noise.
moving on to other cars that make terrible noises. They're also made by Honda. I want to move on to the new Honda Civic because somehow Honda found that they still own more pieces of steel, and so they made the Civic yet bigger.
if you did not tell me what this was ahead of time, I'm like, okay, so they made an Accord Sport or
Yeah, they took the chrome off the Accord.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks
That's
like. That's an
literally-
Accord front end, yeah, with blackout trim.
Oh, it looks like an Accord. Like,
Okay.
this is the
So-
biggest car in the world.
So are they going to stop making the Accord now because they would have 2 Accords?
No, the Accord is now an Acura Legend, and the Civic is now an Accord.
So what's the small sedan then?
The Honda City that we don't get.
Oh.
Which, I need to talk about the Honda City, because that's the car I want. And if Honda brought that here, I'd be a Honda boy again.
Yeah, but they won't.
Yeah, I know they won't. I'm
So
very
you won't.
irritated. Yes, I'm not going to be a Honda boy for a long time. But I do really want a Honda City, and they sell them in Mexico too, which is irritating.
So you could have one in this country for short periods of time.
Actually, I could have one in this country, and as long as I have residence in Mexico, I could own one. So,
That's true. It could live here
in 10,
365 days a year.
in 10 years, I plan to make most of my money from investment properties. So, maybe I can get an investment property somewhere in Mexico.
Maybe.
And I can just register my Honda City at it.
Oh, I should get an investment property in Canada and buy an Avantime.
You son of a bitch. That's a great idea.
I'm in. But yes, this is just an Accord. So
It's seriously the biggest car in the world. And so I guess the news that people are excited about is they're making an all-wheel drive version, which is like I have never seen an
Whoopee.
all-wheel drive version meet so much hemming and hawing.
Why don't people just understand that tires
I know.
matter?
So this is the thing. They're making the all-wheel drive version to compete with the Mazda 3? 6? I don't know what this competes
It's
with
a
anymore.
6.
Yeah, it's a Mazda 7.
It's got to be. It's got to be the same
9
size.
series.
Like, there's no way the Mazda 3 is this big.
It's a Mazda 929 competitor.
Or a CX-9.
Yeah.
Ew. 929. Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Very cool car. Very underrated.
It had a lot of very interesting features.
Rear-wheel drive, V6.
The oscillating vents are still like the biggest thing. I'm just like, that's
Dude,
so
no, you're
cool.
missing it. The best part of that car is the computer fans in the sunroof with the solar panel
Yeah.
that would cool the car down in summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get into your car in summer, it wouldn't be 100 degrees outside. It'd be whatever ambient temperature is because it would cool it down.
Mm-hmm.
And you could turn it off for winter. So you could have it actually create heat in winter. Very cool. I love it.
I was aware of that feature somehow. I probably from you. I don't
Probably.
know. But the 929
If I ever find
was
a
a
929 in good condition,
I genuinely hope you don't.
all right, so this is the thing. This is a totally reasonable thing I want to make, like a collection of. I want to make a collection of full-size 90s Japanese luxury sedans.
It would be so cheap to make that collection.
And you would have an actually really cool collection of cars. Because you could have a 929, the LS400,
Cressida.
you'd have the Cressida. Well, the Cressida's a midsize, but I mean, still, yeah, that could fit. But I mean, like, you could have the Q45, the
Yep.
original one. You would have like an actually cool
There's
collection
got to
of
be
cars.
more than just those.
Well, no, there's more because you have the Avalon, the Pronard.
Pronard.
You'd have the Acura TL, which would be the competitor or the Legend.
the original
You could have the
TL. Yeah,
Legend
yeah, yeah.
as well because the Legend came with a manual.
It did.
So you can
And
have
it
a
should have
manual
been rear-wheel
Legend.
drive, too.
Yes, it literally had everything going for it except for the fact like it wasn't rear-wheel drive. Like,
That is the biggest.
all- yeah,
I've seen since the North Star.
Yeah, it was like,
They're like, this engine's great. It costs a little bit too much. What can you do? I'm like, well, I guess we could take those steel and thread skirts out of the block and just put the bolts into aluminum. Yeah, good.
seriously.
Good. Yeah, just,
Oh, sorry, the Diamante.
a Diamante.
Because the
Yeah.
Diamante wagon as well. It's a full-size wagon. Very rad.
That is the smallest full-size car I've ever seen in my
I
life.
think that's... So, all right, let's think of our Japanese brands. So we have Honda. Then you have Acura. So we have
Did like a Isuzu have a full-size sedan?
Let me think on that
Or
for a
Suzuki
second.
even? Suzuki might have.
Suzuki...
I think the biggest one they had was like the
No.
Verona, though.
I don't think they have full-size sedan because then they just went... They kept all their stuff small as Suzuki. You could get
Mitsubishi Diamante,
Yep. Diamante, and then there's Infinity. I guess Nissan, you could do the Maxima four-door
That's
SC.
midsize.
What was a four-door SC? Though?
40 SE. Oh, did you see the super clean white one that was on?
No, I didn't because I don't look at those because
BAT.
I will actually buy one.
Really nice.
I almost bought a 40 SC a couple years ago because like I really want one. So my thing was like, what I really want to do is I want to get a 80s 40 SC, but I want to get the 300 ZX turbocharger off of it and put that in the 40 SC. I think it'd be perfect.
So the early 90s 40 SC Nissan Maxima, that was a VG30E or a VG30DE?
So the
Like
one
a 92.
the
Maxima.
92 would be a DE.
Okay.
So yeah.
You probably couldn't fit the DETT
But
turbos
the
on it. But
80s ones were the VG30E, so you could put the turbocharger on them. And people have done it, and they've made hilarious cars.
it's also a horrible car.
Disgusting sounding engine. Absolutely the worst sounding engine in the world.
No. Ford EcoBoost V6 first gen is the worst sounding V6.
No, actually, I would go with the Pentastar.
No, those sound fine compared to that.
But-
The Pentastar sounds like a VQ.
No, the issue is the Pentastar and what it's in.
Pentastar?
The Pentastar and what it is actually equipped in. At no point is the Pentastar the aspirational engine. It is always the sound of poverty.
Yeah, it's not the high-end engine in anything except the Compass.
Yeah, it's a terrible engine. But Subaru, the Legacy, because of the Legacy GT.
Oh yeah, the 04 Legacy GT was
But I mean,
cool.
the '90s ones you would have to get.
I did
But
like
they
those.
They had a the first generation Legacy GT. They sold turbocharged.
Great. Terrible car.
Oh, sorry, it's the Legacy RS is what it was.
But full size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could put that into so you could have a collection of actually a cool collection of cars doing just full
The
size.
problem would be it would take you like 20 years to find one of each one of these.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing is like you would spend maybe you could get every one of those cars we just mentioned for a total I think of probably $60,000, getting the best version possible.
I was gonna say that's a lot of money, so yeah,
Like
probably.
if you're getting like if you're just searching brand trailer, finding the like 10 out of 10 Concours quality barn find survivor that like has like 20,000 miles on it, you might spend $60,000 on all of it, and that's to make sure every single one of those is in top spec, like show quality for all of them. You could do that.
I'm still thinking about the 929 over here.
Yeah, the 929.
Keep me up at night.
I've seen a couple of those for sale. Oh, the Infiniti J30 as well. Another cool.
Oh yeah,
That's
another VG30DE car.
Another weirdo 90s car. It's very cool. So, yeah, I mean, instead of buying the Civic, you could buy any 90s car. It's the same size and much cooler. That's a top tip.
Yeah, but don't do any of those actually. I'm not actually gonna play this video. It's my next story, but after over a year, Grand Tour finally gave us a trailer for their next episode. It's been almost 13 months since Seaman launched.
Oh my god. And that they literally didn't do anything else.
No.
Like I said, coronavirus.
Well, kinda, yeah, but
Also, they're elderly.
like if they're doing a fantastic job in making us not care about the fact that they're only going to do this for another year. He's like, I don't even care at this point.
I assumed it was done.
Yeah, I mean they said like, oh, they publicly announced that we're going to do 3 more years of contract, whatever, and like we'd have a certain number more episodes, but it took more than a year. We last got our episode December 13th, 2019, and this will air December 18th, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm sure the trailer is great. I haven't even watched it yet, but dude, just like tell us ahead of time. Plan it. If you have a year, I don't care what you have to do to make your episode fit in that timeline. Just tell us. If it's once a year, fine. I don't care.
One thing I will say about Amazon and their whole thing with the Trinity, James May's shows have been wonderful. Have you watched?
I've watched a couple of the cooking ones.
Have you watched Our Man in Japan?
No.
Ooh, that's good. He
Yikes.
just tours Japan. It's hilarious. It's just James May touring Japan. It's absolutely perfect. He gets into a snowball fight, and he goes.
Are these on YouTube?
They're on Amazon Prime.
I do have that from somebody on my TV.
Yeah, I would recommend Amazon Prime. It is quite good. Our Man in Japan.
I just want more Grand Tour or no Grand Tour.
I like James May as a person. That's the thing, is I don't care about him on Grand Tour. I actually just like him because Grand Tour is just like, it's like not as good as Top Gear. It's always been not as good as Top Gear. But James May is like,
I think it's better because it's all specials, and like a lot of people really didn't like that, but the people that actually...
So I like the specials, but I also like their car reviews. I like their, like...
Normies hated the car reviews, which is what killed Top Gear.
Yeah, and I like the dumb car reviews.
Yeah.
And like,
The original Fiesta review?
Yeah, like they're hilarious.
Yes, Mr. Needham, it will. Or the Clio Cup with Ross Kemp.
No, doing the BMW X6 where they went around the world to make
But
sure
will it work upside down?
So I went to
Yes.
Australia.
I went to Barbados to find out.
That's hilarious. Like,
This car, it was made for a world that no longer exists. Like,
yeah, I
that's
absolutely
true.
love that. Like that's like
Yeah, the golden era of Top Gear was with these guys. But
Yeah,
people need to just reformat a new show. Like, don't try to revive
no,
Top Gear.
don't do it. It's not gonna be the same. You need to have a completely new show.
Yeah, get something new. Like
It's just like it's that magic. Like it's there's a reason when Deep Purple did Deep Purple Part 2 where they had a completely different band. They didn't try to make the same sound.
the electric CNN.
Yeah, like they tried to do different sounds with like each band. So like with Top Gear's Deep Purple. You just have different sounds with everybody. You don't try to do the same sound.
Well, a lot of the problem I think with Top Gear is they rebranded it and did it in Japan, Australia, and the U.S. first, and then the original one had issues, so they had to change it up. And like, well, why would we reformat it? That doesn't make sense.
Like you've reformatted it every other time. Like why don't you just do that? Like,
Right, like it died in 1999. and it should have, because it was pretty bad
Yeah.
in 1999. And then
1999, you had just Jeremy Clarkson was saving the show. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and he took a 3-year hiatus, and then he rebranded it with what became truthfully probably the most valuable TV
I would
brand.
say Top Gear is for the TV show itself, not for the extended IP. Probably the BBC's greatest ever investment that they've ever made.
I think so, too.
Creating a show, because like Doctor Who as an extended IP is better, but Doctor
Sure.
Who as an individual show blows. But you have the extended IP.
It is hard to watch.
It's very difficult to watch. But
It's like watching Conan the Barbarian.
I love that, but
yeah, well,
but like Doctor Who, like you have like the extended
wouldn't
universe.
that be Doctor Whom?
Doctor Whomst. But like Doctor Who, like you have the extended universe, which is cool. But like, yeah, like nobody just watches the show. Like you watch a show and that's cool, but like you have the rest of the stuff that goes with it. But like for just a show, yeah, Top Gear hands down the absolute best.
Yeah, worth qualifying the 2002 to 2015.
The real Top Gear, the one we're talking about. Yeah, and the modern one is a different thing. Like,
It is. It's still fine. Like Rory Reed's awesome. Chris Harris is awesome. Matt LeBlanc is a really good car guy, but just like the you shoved him into the formatting and it just doesn't work.
yeah. Well, isn't he gone now?
No, they can't.
How is he still on?
Chris Evans was the one that was there for a season and then got kicked.
Well, I thought they got rid of Matt LeBlanc as well. 'Cause
No.
that's the thing is that's actually why
His American accent, I can't do it.
No, it's not the accent. It's like I can't do Matt LeBlanc because like I appreciate him as a person.
Yeah. Now, he's a really good car guy. Like he's
Yeah,
got great taste, a really great collection.
I think Matt LeBlanc would be better suited, like honestly, co-hosting Jay Leno's Garage.
I agree.
Like
Yes,
you'd be
yeah.
really, really good on that. And also, that's a show I watch instead of Top Gear. I actually watched Jay Leno's Garage. I love that show. Like it is just it's dumb humor and shows you cool things, and it's kind of cool because it's like not made for car people. I don't know. Every time I see like a car like I'm excited about, I see it and I'm go, ooh, yay! Normies know about this car now. Cool.
Pretty much. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I knew about the Hispano Suiza, but now these
also-
people all do.
One of the other best things. So this is something that they do on Jay Leno's Garage, and this is like, I think this might be one of the most genius pieces of a car show ever. It's called Assess and Caress.
A what?
Assess and Caress.
Okay, I thought you said a Cessna Caress.
No, Assess and
I'm like,
Caress.
this is a
with,
very
like,
sumptuous
Donald
play.
Osborne, I think is his name. But he works for Sports Car Monthly, and he's a car appraiser. And he's actually also a classically trained opera singer, weirdly enough. Really cool guy. But they do this thing where they take 3 very different cars,
Okay.
and they have people guess, well, which one of these cars do you think is the car that appreciated and valued the most in the last, like, at all? Just like, what car do you think is worth the most money? And they'll have like, say like a Tri-5 Chevy next to a Duesenberg next to like a Grand National. Mm-hmm. And then people will go like, well, obviously a Tri-5 Chevy, duh. And they're like, no, actually, it's a Grand National. And they're like, what?
Well, yeah, if you look at, I mean, it's weird because if you go on dollar amounts, obviously everything's skewed.
And that's the thing.
Percentages.
And they actually, they'll
like,
break it all down.
man.
They say, well, this one made more money, but this one was a better investment.
Right.
I think it's just really cool how they do that.
But I mean,
And-
that depends on when you buy too, because like if
Yes.
you're the first owner of that pre-war thing.
yeah, well, if you're the first owner of that pre-war thing, you're dead. But
Touche.
but I mean, like,
Because yeah, you were old when that car was new to
Yeah.
afford it.
so and that's the thing is like I think it's really cool how they actually look at that and they'll actually break it down. It's actually entertaining because Don Osborne is an entertaining person on his own. He could do a show on his own.
Sure.
That's on like Velocity or something or Motor Trend Network, whatever it's called now. But like when you have him with Jay Leno, they actually have really good rapport, and their style of humor and rapport would actually work very well with Matt LeBlanc.
Sure, I'm 100% in agreement.
And so I think like what they could do is they could actually take Matt LeBlanc from Top Gear, have anybody else other than him on Top Gear.
You know who they should have?
Rowan Atkinson,
Johnny Smith.
Johnny Smith.
Johnny Smith. He does the late break show. He
Oh,
was
yeah,
on Fully
yeah,
Charged Live. He
yeah.
would be a great third.
He'd
He
be a really
auditioned
good
for the
third.
show too.
Shit, who else was I thinking of? Not Rowan Atkinson. I'll think about it in a minute. I'm sure I'll come
Rowan
up
would be
with it.
hilarious.
He'd be hilarious on that. Like, he'd be perfect. Like, he'd be a great reviewer. Like,
New Rolls Royce is.
well, if you also
Hearing him talk is the most huge mind job ever. 'Cause it's
and
just
not only
like the
that-
most prim and proper British
and
man.
he's super British, he's super prim and proper, and he's very well informed on cars. Like,
Actually, the fourth time I totaled my McLaren F1, it was actually full of petroleum jelly, and that's why the tires slipped. The coefficient of friction was not ideal on the track, but
Yeah,
now
he's
it's
perfect.
since been fixed.
he's literally perfect. Like,
Just like,
I think Rowan Atkinson should totally take over.
as
for
long
Matt
as he's
LeBlanc.
not allowed to do any Mr. Bean type shit. Like,
No.
he has to be Rowan
No,
Atkinson.
just be himself. Like, that's perfect. Just him as himself. It's-
Listening to his interviews, I'm just like, that sound is coming out of that face? Are you shitting me?
Like, that's perfect. Like, somebody like that would be absolutely hilarious.
I agree.
But-
And arguably he'd be better on like the Jay Leno show too, just because of his car knowledge and
Well,
how it's
that's the
presented.
thing.
But
But this is the thing. So, Top Gear is more of like, that's for car people. And normal people can watch it too. Whereas,
it was initially, but I think it really flip flopped.
I think it's more for car people that other people can watch. When you compare it to Jay Leno's Garage, which is clearly for normal people, that car people can also watch.
Okay.
And that's why I think Matt LeBlanc would be much better on Jay Leno's Garage, because he's also got a much more American
You don't have
sense
to
of humor.
convince me, Ryan.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I'm trying to convince the listeners.
Well, we don't care if they believe us
Well,
or not.
on that bombshell, I think we should talk about some Isuzus.
Let's do it. I actually like Isuzus, but it's just one of those things where I know this is going to be a difficult read.
So, all right. I think, because we were talking about this again on the Nug Cinch group, that I wanted to spotlight some Isuzus, actually. Because Isuzu actually made some very cool cars that never get recognized for any of the cool stuff they've ever made. And everybody thinks of Isuzu, and they just think of trucks. So here's
You got an NPR?
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk about not the first good Isuzu, but this is the first unsung Isuzu to hit the American market, and this is called the Isuzu Gemini.
I've actually heard of this.
Yeah, so it's a very cool car. What this is,
Fender mirrors, DOHC.
I'm going to show you. We're going to start out with the normal one, or the actual cool one. The cool one is called the Isuzu Gemini ZZ. This is the ZZ T. They also had the ZZ R in the 80s, which had sealed beam headlights. Or sorry, they had halogen like headlight inserts, arrow headlights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a very cool car actually. It had the G180W engine, which is the 8-valve dual overhead cam 1.8 liter fuel injected 130 horsepower engine.
Is it a flat four?
No, it's an inline 4
Why does the intake look like it splits forward and back?
because it goes over the intake manifold.
Oh,
That's how a lot of it was really common in the late 80s, or sorry, early 80s for fuel injection for the intake tube to go over. I don't know why they did it that way.
Probably just to superheat everything to try to squeeze emissions.
Actually, I think what it was intake manifold design. They couldn't figure out how to get even distribution of airflow.
That could be, especially with mechanical injection.
And well, this is electronic.
This is
fuel.
probably EFI,
Yeah, this
yeah.
is EFI.
Well,
So
it's a Japanese car, of course it
Yeah.
is, because it's good.
yeah, and so what's cool about it's an over square engine,
Nice.
and it's 130 horsepower.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah,
That's
like-
going to be a rocket ship.
Yeah, and so
Oh,
if you're
sorry.
wondering what the Gemini
Me
is,
again.
this is a Chevy Chevette.
Oh, God.
That's what the chassis is. So imagine a Chevy Chevette with 130 horsepower, fuel injection, dual overhead cam, and an over square engine that actually likes to rev out in a manual transmission only. And a limited slip rear differential, it's an option. And you suddenly have a very, very cool car.
That is a very cool. And fender mirrors.
Yeah, and fender mirrors. That's a very cool car in like 1978 to like 1983. When
Would own.
yeah, 100% would
10
own
out
this.
of 10.
Yeah,
Dude,
this
you
is
could drive that for 20 years and it'd be fine.
yeah, and like so that's the thing is like you can actually still find these on Goonet Exchange, and they're decent price. Like they're probably about $15,000 plus import fees. So
Yeah, but you're looking at the price of like a 1.6 205 GTI.
yeah,
Same
that's
kind of deal.
that's the thing is like you're looking at it's a sub $20,000 import car. Very very cool car.
Mm-hmm.
We did receive this car as the Chevette, but we also received the exact sedan. Oh, by the way, this is a sedan as well, which you would love.
Well, it looks like a 5-door hatch right here.
This is actually a sedan. I took this picture because it looks more like the Chevette in this picture.
Okay.
So you could see more of the Chevette.
yeah,
body
more doors,
lines.
more better.
Yeah. But
I mean, a checker aero cab.
if you look at the other picture that I added, it's
let me
the
get to
version that we got here in the 70s when they first came out with the Gemini body style. Also, Gemini is one of those things where they just like kept in production forever, like way longer than it should have been in production. The way
Sounds like
we
a pretty
received
GM
it
thing. Oh
was-
wow, this is like dial up.
Yeah, the Buick Opal. It's a huge picture. So this is the one, like, this is very, very close to the actual Gemini that we got. And we received it as a Buick Opal, single vert cam inline 4. Yeah, but I mean, like, also, like, 1976, and it was kind of sporty. But the thing is, it was a really confusing name.
Right, because Opel is a brand.
And they still made the Opel GT
Oh,
when they made
God.
this. And this is a Buick Opal.
No.
But was
no,
actually
no,
an Isuzu.
GM, no.
It wasn't made in Europe.
I bet this sold really well.
Terribly. But also, very cool car, because this could 100% was...
Looks like a Datsun.
Yeah, it was an exact competitor to Datsuns and Corollas of the era. And
those are both great cars. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the Corolla engine of that era.
and that's exactly
Oh
what
my
this
God.
was. It was just as good as a Corolla, and very, very, very rare cars. Really, actually, a really handsome front end, I think, for
Yeah.
being the original version.
Yeah,
Before
it looks
they did-
expensive. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
look like cheapened like most of the 70s trash.
Yeah, and if you type in Isuzu Gemini ZZR, you'll actually see what the final facelift looked like before they did the before they went to like the Isuzu iMarks and stuff. And
Okay.
it stayed cool looking its entire life. It wasn't one of those cars that wasn't like destroyed by its facelift. Like this car, each facelift actually made the car better. And so I've always been a huge proponent of the Isuzu Gemini as a chassis to import. And look how great that car actually looks. It's a
yeah,
really
if,
cool
if
car.
this was a four-door, it'd be great.
And they made a four-door of this.
Perfect.
It's just I had to find a picture of a functional Buick Opal, and this is what I found. There's like 5 of them left.
I believe that. And
Yeah.
like this one's mint, but it's even like missing
Yeah,
pinstriping.
I know like, the
and
pinstripes like really
This is
poor.
a big photo, yes.
Yeah. So like this one's kind of beat, but like it's
at
like a
that fire
survivor.
truck.
That's a fire truck.
This is definitely in Europe.
There's a Cressida. No, yes it is in Europe. It's in Australia. Crikey.
Crikey.
Anyway.
Buick Opel.
So I told you it'd be quick. I just wanted
That's
to
what she said.
spotlight the Isuzu Gemini, one of their
I like
greatest
the
unsung
engine.
cars. It's a cool car. It's a really cool.
Probably had
looking
rack
car.
and pinion steering too.
Yes, it did. Only rack and pinion. Like,
And only manual.
yeah, and well, they had a 2-speed auto, which is terrible.
Oh, the Power Glide.
But yeah, they came here as
We've talked about the Power Glide being the only acceptable way to do a torque converter transmission.
and they came here as the Chevette. So if you really wanted to not break the budget, you could totally get a G180W and bolt it into a Chevette and have one.
Talk about a great car that nobody bought,
Yeah, I know, right?
like the Suzuki Kizashi.
Yeah, Suzuki and Isuzu, they're 2 greatest brands nobody bought.
That's a damn shame, but that's why we are proponents here.
Yes, that's what I want to talk about them. They're great. That's what we talk about here.
We don't talk about
Carbitrage.
normal shit, so
No,
I
we don't.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's not a normal car by any means.
And
It's just dumb.
what I'll send us off on this week is actually not car news, really, but it is about the E46 on the lift behind me, which we probably have briefly touched on the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I bought a 2002 BMW E46, so the 3 Series chassis,
Yeah.
325 Xi 5-speed. So you know how much I hate all-wheel drive.
Yeah. You bought
But
the best version of a bad car.
I bought literally my search criteria where it needs to be a stick.
Huh.
It needs to be under $2,000 when I'm done with it. And that's it.
Oh, there
So
you go. XI.
I responded to a lot of ads. This one actually had been stagnant on Marketplace for 6 months.
God damn it.
It was in a parking lot across from BMW Motorworks. I'm like,
Okay.
I could see in the ad that it was
Across from Motorworks.
across from Motorworks. They
What
said
was wrong with it?
the clutch is bad. It will need to be towed. Otherwise, good. So, dude, in his defense, responded to me very quickly, very well spoken,
Good.
which is uncommon for Facebook Marketplace, as you all know.
And E46 Xi owners. at this point,
Exactly, but
'cause-
like this car, clearly it had at least been looked after a little bit. Like the kid had clearly owned it for a while as a daily. He'd put
it
an
looks like
M-Tech 2 bumper on it.
clean
and
looking car.
it's not bad for 190 whatever thousand miles it has, but like
And having too many axles.
it really does. But I asked him like, just level with me. Like I know your boss. I know most of your coworkers. You know that I'm a tech. Just tell me what's also wrong with it beside the clutch. Like I don't care what you tell me is broken, but just like give me a rundown so I know what I need to do. He's like, oh okay, shocks and struts pretty weak, needs a right side control arm, needs front axles.
No, that's easy.
I'm like, okay, good, that's fine. I know how to do all that. I get it up in the air after buying it. It doesn't need half of that shit.
Oh,
So I'm like, it's pretty great. But I pulled the trans today, and the clutch has just been turned into black graphite dust.
oh, perfect.
And half of it is just a metallic surface. But that's the plan. Now that I'm doing Polar Run again this year, I registered with the Model S originally. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I think I should do this in a sub $1,000 BMW.
Yeah, that's the way you should do Polar Run every year.
That's how I'm going to do it.
Good.
So this car should be pretty good. I'm just going to throw a clutch in it, and it needs a left side axle. It needs a right side control arm. The front diff has an apocalyptic amount of gear lash in it, so I'm going to replace the fluid in that and hope it's fine. But other than that, like both drive shafts are fine, which is really uncommon on an XI. The transfer case is fine.
Can you make that rear-wheel drive?
Yeah, I'd have to pull the transfer case and weld it up, or put a rear-wheel drive ZF in it, which is probably worth more than the car, and then custom the drive shaft and the mounts. But yeah, I could.
So if that front diff turns out to be garbage,
I would probably pull the transfer case apart, weld it, and fill it with fluid.
I would do that.
Because the front diffs are not cheap for those.
Yeah, well, they're a known problem.
They are, and manuals, although actually they sold quite a few, it's harder to find one that isn't currently being driven. Oh. So the part outs are almost all just bad GM 5L40 automatics. But yeah, it's a silver 02 3 Series I paid $600 for. And
I'll take a look at that. Looks like you got the headlight washers, you got the fog lights.
Yeah, it's got xenon, it's got the leather interior, it's got heated seats. It's actually a premium package car.
Wipers?
What's that?
Does it have the rain-sensing wipers on it?
Yes.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it should be fun. I have a set of winter wheels and tires that fit it, which is why I was searching for E46.
That's a smashing good car, actually.
For $600, I have no real complaints. Runs fine. So, but yeah, like when he said there's no clutch.
How many miles are on it?
I think 190. I don't really know.
That's not bad.
I have it's in my oval bore video, I'm sure. I think
that's a good car.
When I started it, I'm like, let's see how many miles. But no, it legitimately seemed like it was the best cared for cheap BMW on Marketplace, and like nobody wants to do a clutch on an XI.
Speaking of XIs, I sold a XI E91, I think is the
wagon?
XI wagon. Yeah, E91 on Branch Trailer. It was red. I can't remember exactly which red. Yeah, manual.
Nice.
Sold for very, very good money. The guy was a little bummed because his previous E46 didn't sell that great. It was that Dakar yellow one I was talking about earlier. Yeah. I like the Dakar yellow. Why doesn't nobody else like that color?
That's a bad color.
That's a good color.
No, it's a bad color.
It's a very good yellow. I like that yellow. Anyway,
it's a bad yellow.
I'm also a little colorblind, so like, it looks great to me. Like I have the worst times with the yellows and oranges. Like Jana's like, Brian, that car's orange. I'm like, fuck you, that's yellow. Like, that's a yellow car. Like, so maybe it's a terrible color. It just looks great to me. So.
Oh, perfect. There's several other colorblind folks out there that also love Dakar
yellow. The Dakar yellow is awesome, like, to me. But the guy's a little bummed about the Dakar yellow car, but he made all of his money back on the E90, so that's good.
Yeah, the E91 XI manuals are still very rare cars, but they
very
made
good too.
Yeah, they made 7 or 8 times as many of those as they did the rear-wheel drive ones.
So. And that's the thing is like it's rare and it's automatic.
If you're gonna buy one, that's probably the way to do it.
But this is a very cool E46. Also, is the E46 all-wheel drive comparably as bad as the E30 all-wheel drive compared to the normal E30?
I would posit that the E46 and early X5 systems are the worst BMW all-wheel drive systems.
But I mean, like, as far as driving dynamics, like the comparative difference in driving dynamics.
It's not as bad as a E30 Xi.
So this is the thing.
Or iX, sorry.
That E46 Xi, I bet is still a tits car to drive.
It's pretty good. The steering is really good in these. On the E30, the steering was really bad. The powertrains are good enough on these, and the parasitic drop loss just wasn't that bad.
Driving the E30 Xi is
tragic.
Still... Well, no, that's the thing is, it's way worse than the normal one.
Yeah.
But is still so much better than your average car.
Oh, yeah. Those drive really well.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, yeah, it is worse. But for a daily, like, it's great. Like...
And it doesn't matter if it gets rusty and door dinged and shit because it's a disposable XI.
Like, yeah, if you're not going to have a ZHB, get yourself a disposable XI and actually enjoy your car.
That's why a lot of people that have nice E46s also have a shitty XI.
Yeah, your shitty XI is a great daily driver. It's still going to be better than the vast majority of cars
Because
out
it
there.
is still a very reliable, fairly efficient, really cheap, nice place to spend
Yeah,
time.
I've never driven an XI, but I've only driven rear-wheel drive E46s.
You can drive this one when I'm done with it.
Okay, yeah, I would love to. But like, it's one of those things where it's like the normal E46, like a Lexus IS 300 and that are probably the two best driving rear-wheel drive sedans of that era.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I would probably put them up there of just generally best driving sedans.
It's so good. I mean, for being a regular car, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. How those slip through, just maintaining all of their dynamics and being sold exclusively to normies.
Yeah, it's just one of those cars.
And I think we've even talked about this. Like, if you're driving an E46, like, if you're driving straight on a freeway, you cannot tell what you're in.
No.
If it's rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. Or,
Yeah, they're
sorry,
fine.
all-wheel drive.
Yeah, or front-wheel drive if it's really broken.
No, they have 3 open diffs. So if you have any one axle or diff that has a problem, that's why I'm like, that front diff, like if that goes out on Polar Run, I can't drive it. There will be no power anymore.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, maybe I should bring a vice grip to clamp on the front drive shaft just in case.
I would just weld it up. Drive it a lot before Polar Run, and if it breaks,
Yeah.
then just weld it up and make it rear-wheel drive. And it'll be a great drift car to someone.
Ugh. I don't even want to think about that.
I know.
Because I'd have to pull the trans back off and everything.
Maybe you shouldn't break it.
I think I'm going to put Redline heavyweight shockproof in the front diff, which is a hypoid gear oil.
Good.
And it shouldn't get worse.
Oh, also, I meant to ask, what oil do you recommend in Fiat 500?
Engine oil?
gassers? Yeah.
I run, well, if you can find it, the German Castrol 0W30 is good.
Okay.
But I usually run
0W30 is
Rotella.
actually only made in Germany. So
Correct.
that's
yes.
good. So
yeah, but
you
the
can find that.
German Castrol, if you can find that, that's a great oil to run year round. I ran T6 in mine.
Okay, I think I'm gonna do the Rotella. I've had bad luck with Castrol. It's a superstition at this point.
Yeah, I ran 540 and everything.
Every car I've ever blown up has had the Castrol oil in it. It's nothing to do with the oil. It's me, and I know that. It's entirely a superstitious thing.
I'd have to pull my Blackstone stuff from my old 500s, but it was that, and then also they routinely told me just to do more miles on the oil, even at like 12,000 mile intervals. I'm like,
I'm doing
nah,
5.
Don't do that. That's a waste of money.
No, I'm gonna do 5.
No,
I don't think you understand. I'm gonna do 5. I drive like a maniac.
it doesn't matter. Do you think I was kind to my 500, towing trailers wide open?
Yeah, I'm gonna do 5K.
Okay, you do what you want, but
I do
it's a waste
5K.
of
Well,
money.
the other reason why I do 5K oil change intervals is because
You could run conventional on that. And do
Well, no,
5Ks.
I'm going to use synthetic, but I do 5K intervals because I also inspect the car when I'm doing that.
That's fine.
And that's a really good time for me to look at other stuff.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't need it because for whatever reason, the late model Fiat 500 is the most reliable vehicle in the entire world.
I'm so excited to have a reliable car.
And on that
Tremendous
bombshell,
bombshell.
we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.